Welcome back to UGC NET Paper 1. Today, we are taking up Chapter 2, Learning from Unit 1, Teaching Aptitude. This chapter is extremely important because learning forms the foundation of teaching, behavior, and human development, and many concepts from this chapter are repeatedly asked in the exam. Let us begin by understanding the definition of learning. Learning refers to the process of acquiring new understandings, knowledge, behaviors, skills, values, attitudes, and preferences. This ability is not limited to humans alone. Animals and even machines are capable of learning, and there is evidence of learning in certain plants as well. Some learning happens instantly, such as learning to avoid touching a hot stove after being burned once. However, most skills and knowledge are developed gradually through repeated experiences. Learning often brings about long-lasting changes, sometimes lasting a lifetime, which is why it becomes difficult to distinguish between information that is forgotten and information that simply cannot be retrieved. Learning is essential for acquiring knowledge and skills that open doors to employment and professional growth. More importantly, learning helps individuals realize that improvement is always possible, whether it involves gaining new skills or enhancing existing abilities. In broader terms, learning involves acquiring new knowledge, skills, and values. It brings about changes at cognitive, emotional, and behavioral levels, shaping attitudes, understanding, and personal growth. Learning can take place in both formal settings, such as classrooms, and informal settings, such as everyday life experiences. Ultimately, learning supports lifelong personal and professional development. To understand how learning progresses, we look at the concept of the learning curve. A learning curve is a graphical representation that shows progress over time. It highlights how quickly or easily learning takes place and reflects the effort required to master a task. As practice and repetition increase, improvement becomes visible on the curve. However, learning does not always progress smoothly, and learners may experience periods where progress slows down. This slowing down is explained by the concept of a learning plateau. A learning plateau represents a stage where improvement temporarily levels off after an initial phase of rapid progress. It often results from physical or mental exhaustion caused by prolonged work or intense study. During this phase, motivation may decline and attitudes and emotions may be negatively affected. From an exam perspective, it is important to remember that lack of balance among various phases of a complex skill, shifting of attention from one phase of performance to another, along with fatigue and boredom, are the causes of plateau associated with the learning curve, a point that has been asked in exams. Overcoming a plateau usually requires rest, change in strategy, or renewed motivation. Now, let us move to the process of learning, which consists of 6 interactive components. Learning begins with attention and awareness, without which information cannot be processed. This is followed by memory and recollection, which help store and retrieve information. Language and linguistics play a vital role in understanding and expressing learning. Processing and organizing allow learners to structure information meaningfully. The graphomotor system, especially writing, supports expression and retention. Finally, higher order thinking enables analysis, synthesis, and problem solving. These processes do not function in isolation. They interact with emotions, classroom climate, behavior, social skills, teachers, and family members, all of which influence learning outcomes. Next, we examine the types of learning processes, which are broadly classified into non-associative learning and associative learning. Non-associative learning occurs in response to a single stimulus and does not involve forming associations with consequences. It is based on the frequency of exposure to a stimulus and results in changes in behavior over time. This type of learning focuses on innate responses to external stimuli without linking them to rewards or punishments. Non-associative learning has 2 main forms, habituation and sensitization. Habituation refers to a decrease in response to repeated exposure to a stimulus. Responses diminish more quickly for frequently occurring stimuli than for infrequent ones, and weak stimuli habituate faster than strong stimuli. For example, a person may initially notice a new ringtone but gradually begin to ignore it. Habituation helps individuals filter out irrelevant environmental stimuli, allowing better focus and reduced distraction in daily life. In contrast, sensitization involves an increased or amplified response to repeated exposure to a stimulus. This usually occurs with important or emotionally significant stimuli. For instance, repeated ringing of a school bell before a special event may increase excitement rather than reduce it. In sensitization, responses grow stronger with continued exposure, heightening awareness and preparing the individual to respond to meaningful signals. The second major category is associative learning, which is based on forming connections between events or actions. This type of learning is common in both humans and animals and helps organisms adapt to their environments by understanding cause and effect relationships. Associative learning occurs through classical conditioning and operant conditioning. Classical conditioning involves pairing a neutral stimulus with a stimulus that naturally elicits a reflex response. Over time, the neutral stimulus alone begins to trigger the response. Pavlov's experiments with dogs are the classic example of this form of learning. Classical conditioning focuses on stimulus-response relationships and explains how involuntary and automatic physiological responses can be triggered by previously unrelated stimuli through repeated association. Operant conditioning, on the other hand, focuses on how behavior is shaped by its consequences. Behaviors are strengthened through reinforcement and weakened through punishment. B.F. Skinner studied operant behavior using the Skinner box, where pigeons and rats were placed in controlled environments. Positive reinforcement increases the likelihood of a behavior being repeated, while punishment reduces its occurrence. Operant conditioning is widely used in training, education, and behavior modification, as it strengthens behavior response connections through consistent consequences. To conclude, learning is a dynamic and lifelong process influenced by internal processes, external stimuli, and environmental conditions. Understanding learning curves, learning plateaus, learning processes, and types of learning not only strengthens conceptual clarity but also plays a crucial role in performing well in Paper 1.